So the second exercise for level 2 is going to be the front squat. The front squat is going to be paired with your deadlift. So when you're doing the deadlift motion, right after that, you're going to do this front squat. So we're using both, we're working the back of our legs or back of our lower body with the deadlift, and now the front of our lower body with the front squat. It's a pull exercise and a push exercise, if you hear me refer to it that way. So for the front squat, the reason it's called a front squat is the weight of the band goes on the front of your shoulders as opposed to on the back of your shoulders when you put a long bar there. What we're going to do for this one is your feet are about shoulder width apart. If you'd like, you can put a chair or a stool behind you to know how far to go down or to sit on. If you go too far down, you get stuck. But the first thing to do is just being able to do it with body weight. Now this could be challenging as a starting place, but that's okay. If you can get to the point where once you can do 15 of these with your body weight, then I highly recommend adding in the band. So don't wait until you can do 40 of them with your body weight alone before you add in the band, because the band will actually help you to balance and provide some stability and different things like that. But what this looks like is to do with body weight is you just cross your arms like this, feet are about shoulder width apart, and what you're going to do is you're going to squat down like you're sitting. But the key part here is with all these, your back has to stay straight. Once you start to lean forward too much, or especially curve your back, you've gone too far for what your flexibility and what your strength can handle at this point. So what that looks like, just for body weight, we'll cross our elbows like this, and then you're just going to sit down, keeping your shoulders up and your back. Try to go down until your legs are about 90 degrees. So about this far, you don't have to go all the way down, about this far, and then stand up. And then come all the way down, and then stand up. Now the goal with these is don't lock out. We don't want to lock our knees. If you lock your knees, you essentially give your muscles a break for a few seconds at the end of every rep. It's going to make you have to do more reps and go longer, and it's not the intent of what we're doing here. So you stop right about here when the front of your legs are still tight. If you go too high, these relax and they shut off because your bone structure takes the load instead of their muscles. So once again, we start and stop right about here with a slight bend in our knees. Come down, keep your back straight, your chest up, so that's what helps to keep your elbows up like this, and then come up. So once you can do 15 of those, then we're going to work on doing with the band. Now with the band, we're going to try to do between 15 and 40 before we get a thicker band. Similar setup to before, except now it's not going to be doubled over, just a single loop of the band. So we'll put a single loop, just step on a single loop of the band. Feet about shoulder width apart here. We don't want them to be touching like before because we're actually squatting down. So feet about shoulder width apart. And now if you'd like, you can sit down on a chair, or you can squat down to get the band up on top of your shoulders, so it's not stretching it way up to here. So you could sit down right now to get the band up on top of the shoulders, or squat down. But what you're going to want to do is get the band to lay over your shoulders like this, not so it's pushing on your neck and you can't breathe, but right through the center of your shoulders. Try not to have it twisted. And it's okay to do this with the lower bands, but if you're going to go up to a higher band, that's where you're going to want the bar. So with the Vex3 system. So I have the band going over the front of my shoulders, that's where the weight is, and then I'm going to cross my hands. You can cross them like this, just to keep the band right there, or you can cross your hands. Either way, keeping your elbows up is going to help you keep your chest up, okay? And keep your back straight, because we don't want to be hunching over, and we don't want to be leaning forward either. So we'll just cross our arms like this, and then the same thing. We're going to squat down, keeping your back straight down to about here, and then you're going to stand up, and you're going to stop right here before your knees lock out. Don't lock out your knees. So come down as far as you can without, if you get down too low and you start leaning forward, that's too far. Maybe it's just down to here. You only go down as far as you can while keeping your chest up and your back straight. So maybe you're just going down to here. That's okay. Just don't lock out at the top. And maybe you come down just to right here and then up to the top. But the goal is you go down as far as you can with the proper form, okay? If you get down to here and you start leaning forward and the band starts to go forward, that's too far. So just down as far as you can with the proper form, but going slow, keeping your elbows up. So watch your elbows. As soon as your elbows start to come down like this, you're going too far. You gotta keep your elbows up, and if you can go down all the way, great, and then all the way up. And then at some point, you can just take the band off like this. It's not too much weight. You can probably just take it off like this. Or if you need to sit down on the chair behind you, that's a good way to get the band off so you don't hurt yourself. Just don't step out of it when you have it up on your shoulders. Then it could snap up. But as long as you just take it off the front of your shoulders, that should be good. And that's going to be the exercise that we pair with the deadlift. So quick recap here. When we're doing a level 2, the exercise that you do with the bent row is going to be the crossover press. You do those, do one of the bent row, one of the crossover press. Then the next day you're going to set yourself up to do the deadlift, where you push through your heels and you stand up to here, and you lower the band straight down. And you're dragging it along your thighs. You don't want your hands out in front. You just drag them across your thighs. So that's the deadlift. And then immediately after that, you're going to do that front squat. So those two are paired together on the next day. And then you alternate. So it's 2 exercises, doing the upper body exercises on day 1, the lower body exercises on day 2. And then you repeat, and you go back and forth. And you can do that a total of 6 days a week. Take Sunday off. Take one day off, or plan that things happen and sometimes just miss a day. If you want to do it every single day, that's okay too. We're going to alternate that. The day 1 exercises for the upper body, and then the day 2 exercises for the lower body, and then repeat. And that's going to be level 2.